Wow, this is truly unbelievable. Mayweather Boxing Channel, the cameraman says that George Kambosos beat Devin Haney or is suggesting the fight was close. Roll the clip.
Jeff, first of all, you had picked Kambosos to win. I had picked Kambosos to win. Kambosos thought he won after the fight, as did a lot of us. Your thoughts on the fight and the outcome with the fight going to Devin Haney? Well, we saw Devin, for the most part, obviously the jab was very effective for him. He's throwing a lot of jabs, then immediately clinching. Kambosos, after the fight, he felt that he won, and a lot of the stats show that he should have won. Do you think that it was, Devin a little more flashy, but, the substance wasn't necessarily there, and that he deserved the victory?
No, I think that Devin won almost every round. I mean, I could have gave maybe one round to Kambosos. And I mean, don't get me wrong, him beating Kambosos that easy really did surprise me as well.
Well, this was a case, you said maybe the judge would be impacted by the crowd and that kind of thing, but Devin Haney being a top-ranked fighter, this being a top-ranked fight, that kind of thing, do you think that maybe those judges were swayed? Because a lot of those rounds could have gone either way. I mean, there was only a couple that were clearly, definitively for Devin Haney.
I don't think so, but...
But you said you're rooting for Devin, so a little bias in your opinion, more than likely.
There's no bias in my opinion.
Like you said you want him to win. How are you not biased?
No. Oh, no. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Gang. Now, what you guys just heard right there was the Mayweather Boxing Channel, and the cameraman was saying some crazy things, so I had to make a video about it and give my opinion. So you guys heard the audio clip, link in the description. For starters, just listen to how some people set this conversation up. So the cameraman says to Jeff Mayweather, "You picked George Kambosos to win, as did I." Now, you got to ask yourself, why is that the first thing you're saying? Why is that your lead-in? Who cares? Like, we already got the fight. The fight has already happened. And you immediately lead in with your own personal opinion, And the whole purpose to me for seeing a fight is so that opinions can now be removed, because when you actually see the fight, there's no need for an opinion or a fight prediction. Like, anybody could say Thanos will beat the Incredible Hulk, but then you see Thanos and the Incredible Hulk fight, then you get a conclusive victor. There's nothing that needs to be said. So it doesn't matter what your opinion was prior to, we got an actual end result. That end result was Devin the Dream Haney going to Australia and beating the brakes off of George Kambosos. So I find it very ironic that the cameraman is leading in with that type of question. Now, he also said something and made a generalization and said, you were picking Kambosos, I was picking Kambosos, and after the fight, George Kambosos thought he won, as did many of us. Who the are you talking about? Who? First of all, let's start with the basics. I don't even remember George Kambosos. You could correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm probably not because I'm greatness. But I don't even remember George Kambosos suggesting that he won the fight and it was a robbery. I don't remember that. What I do remember George Kambosos saying, however, was that he felt the fight was close and he was landing some good shots. But you thinking the fight is close and you telling the world that you were robbed or you should have been the victor, these are not one and the same. There's like crocodiles and there's alligators. This is not even that, where it's, okay, some people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. Saying you thought the fight was close does not automatically infer or mean that you felt that you won the fight. You could be like, oh, I was in a competitive fight, but okay with the decision. So from my standing, I didn't really see George Kambosos too much petitioning that he was robbed or saying that. So I hate when people make generalizations such as this. And again, where is this even coming from? He says George Kambosos felt he won, which again, I don't remember him saying that. And he said, as did many of us. Who is many of us? With the KKK? Like, who thought that? Who thought that? Ironically enough, now this is how you could tell that I'm the greatest in this space, talking boxing in the digital age. I got to be the greatest. Because you can listen to what I say and make it make a lot of sense. You can rationalize it. You can use examples. You can use factual information, tangible things to supplement or support what I'm saying. However, this is how I always beat these dudes in boxing with the boxing conversations and, things like that, is this. For a brief moment, I am willing, even though I know your point is stupid, for a brief moment, I am willing to put my feet in your shoes to hear out your argument. But then immediately upon doing that, when I put your clown bowling shoes on to try to understand your point, then I already think of counter arguments that don't support or corroborate your point. That shows me right then and there that what you're saying is rubbish, is poppycock, is no good, no bueno. Case in point. So he's suggesting that many of us who, I don't even know who many of us is referring to, right? Where you're at a house party and many of the people at the house party felt Kambosos won. You're saying that Kambosos said he won. I don't remember him saying that. So let me put myself in those shoes and just assume that George Kambosos, it was a close fight and these things that I don't really truly believe, right? Why, when they were fighting in Australia, the backyard of George Kambosos, mind you, and they said there was 50, 60,000 people in that stadium cheering on, rooting on their fighter. Why were they so quiet? So if many of us, is what his exact words, believe that George Kambosos was the true rightful victor, then for 12 rounds, how do you have a stadium of raucous fans and partially drunk, inebriated fans, and they're quiet as church mice? You hear very little. Like, I've never seen one gathering. Go to a soccer event, go to a sporting event where it's 50, 60,000 people, like Brazil or somewhere, or Wembley or whatever. Like, just anywhere with a large group of people. And I don't recall any sporting event that had the main event, like the main attraction that brought people there, and there was 50, 60,000 people, and I don't remember him being that quiet. The only thing even remotely close is I do remember when Joshua fought Ruiz in Saudi Arabia, it was extremely quiet. You didn't hear a bunch of chants. But I think that's more of a cultural thing, on that part of the world and in that region, sporting events and shouting and yelling. In fact, in Saudi Arabia and certain Middle Eastern countries, you're prohibited from doing certain things, like screaming at night or screaming in general, like making a public scene. So I think that's more indicative of the culture there rather than anything else in that example. So barring that, I can't remember any time where I seen an event and then the people were just on hush mode. Then he said Devin was a little bit more flashy, but the substance wasn't there. Like, just listen to how he's wording the questions. And then the funniest thing to this interview was that the cameraman, and credit to Jeff Mayweather, I'm gonna give Jeff Mayweather credit, because even though he has whatever this dude is who's always saying crazy stuff on the Mayweather boxing channel, even though he has this dude doing the camera work for whatever reason, Jeff Mayweather wasn't lured in and he still spoke his mind, which was contrary to what the cameraman was saying. But one of the funniest moments here was when at the end, you heard the clip where the cameraman says, "Oh, you said you were rooting for Devin Haney. Doesn't that make you a bit biased?" Biased? Like, look who's talking to John Travolta, Bruce Willis. What are we talking about? So he has the nerve to call someone biased, and look at how he's framing the question. He's saying stuff like, yeah, Devin was a little bit more flashy, but he lacked substance. Okay, if Devin lacked substance, then what the hell did George Kambosos do? And then he also said something to the effect of, a lot of us thought that Kambosos won, and the stats showed that he won. What stats are you referring to? And I distinctly remember post-fight when they're doing the interview with Devin Haney, they says, George Kambosos was magnanimous in handing you the belts after the fight. So why would he do that? Why would George Kambosos be magnanimous in giving Devin Haney the belts if he thought it was a robbery? Because I remember distinct robberies Like Pernell Whitaker was disgusted in Texas when they said it was a draw versus Julio Cesar Chavez. Or Paulie Malignaggi had this full-on rant post-fight when he thought he got robbed by Baby Bull Diaz in Texas, et cetera, et cetera. So tell me why George Kambosos thought he won, as the Mayweather Boxing Channel cameraman is suggesting, but then he walked over and handed his belts. You could go listen to the post-fight interview and hear that moment. I know if I felt I got jerked or robbed in a fight, I'm not handing nobody the belt, and I'm not going to be like, oh, let him have his moment. It's his moment now. So I really don't know what the cameraman is even talking about, or, what his purpose is on the Mayweather Boxing Channel. And as I always say, you consistently see this happen with black fighters, especially if they have a style like Devin Haney. They get marginalized, like as if they're runners or scary. You heard him say, he said something to the effect of like, oh, Devin was flashy with no substance. But if that's the case, why does Kambosos' face look all tattered up by the end of the fight? So again, I implore you guys to just hear what I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying, and listen to what other people tell you. You guys got to keep your third eye open in this world of boxing. And, I promise if you listen to what I'm saying, it'll make sense. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think of this cameraman and him egging on the fact that George Kambosos won? Cap, drop your thoughts in the comment section. And I'm out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.